Welcome to JForrest English. I'm Jennifer, and today you're going to learn over 100 natural expressions to help you sound just like a native English speaker. These are common expressions that you can use every single day. Let's get started. First, let's talk about all the different natural ways that you can say bye in English to help you sound like a native English speaker. You can absolutely say bye or goodbye. It's grammatically correct. The problem is that it sounds very formal, and native speakers don't really say goodbye. We say goodbye, but then we add on a natural expression. So let's talk about natural expressions you can use in everyday situations like shopping, at the grocery store, at a restaurant, or dealing with a customer service agent. You can say bye, but then add on take care. Bye, take care. Now you can also say take care and then bye. Take care, bye. Or you can simply say take care.
Take care.
You can say have a good, and then whatever the time reference is. Have a good day, morning, afternoon, evening, night. Or you can say have a good one, which is general to any situation. Have a good one, bye, take care.
Have a good one.
A quick tip is that native speakers commonly combine multiple expressions like I just did. Bye, take care, have a good night. It's very common to use 2, 3, or more expressions, so feel free to combine them. Now you can replace the adjective good with a different adjective. Have a wonderful day. Have a fabulous afternoon. Have a fantastic weekend. You can say bye for now, which implies that you're going to see that person again. Bye for now. Or you can say enjoy the rest of, and then the time period. Enjoy the rest of your day, your night, your evening, your weekend, your vacation.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Now, I created a free lesson PDF that summarizes all the greetings from this lesson. You can look for the link in the description or the comment section below. Now let's talk about saying goodbye to your friends. The most common is see you soon, see you later. A common one is also talk soon. Bye, talk soon.
See you later.
I'll see you later.
Now, if you have a future date planned with that friend, you can say see you next weekend, see you tomorrow, see you at the party, and reference that next event. You can add can't wait to add some excitement. Can't wait to see you next weekend. Can't wait to see you at the party. You can say, bye, it was so nice seeing you. Instead of so nice, you can add, it was awesome, it was amazing, it was wonderful, it was lovely. And instead of seeing you, you can add, it was lovely catching up, it was lovely having dinner, it was lovely chatting. So you can add different alternatives to that expression. If your friend is getting into a vehicle, you can add bye, drive safe, bye, have a safe trip, be well. Now, if you don't have a next date planned with your friend, you can add something to show you want to see them again. Bye, let's catch up soon. Don't be a stranger. Keep in touch. This is a very common one. Bye, keep in touch, take care. Now let's talk about some more informal slang expressions. You can use these with your friends, your family, or even with your coworkers, as long as it's a more informal situation. We commonly use gotta. Got to, gotta. I gotta go. I gotta jet. I gotta head out. I gotta take off. I gotta hit the road. I gotta get going.
It's my 6 o'clock. I got a jet.
You can also say catch you later, which just means see you later. Catch you later. And notice I took you and reduced it to ya. Catch you later. Catch you later. Sometimes we just say later, later. A fun expression is catch you on the flip side. I have no idea what the flip side is, but catch you on the flip side. Catch you on the flippity flip.
I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Bye.
Some people say peace out. I personally have never said this, but I do hear it a lot from some other speakers. Peace out or simply peace. So if that suits your personality, you can use that one.
Peace out!
One of the most common informal expressions is just see ya. So we take see you later and we reduce it to see ya.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Let's talk about some expressions you can use with your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, spouse, life partner. Bye, my love, my love. And we say it in such a nice voice. Bye, my love. I miss you already. I like that one. I miss you already, even though they're right there. I miss you already. Bye, my love.
I miss you already!
I miss you too!
Now we can use our pet name for each other. Bye, sweetheart. Bye, sweetie. Bye, cuddle bear. Bye, my darling. Or whatever your romantic name for each other is. And if you have young kids, you can use this really cute expression, which goes, see you later, alligator. Do you know what comes next? In a while, crocodile. But just use that one with young children. Now let's talk about professional expressions that you can use at work, in a job interview, a networking event, or conference. By looking forward to seeing you again soon. Looking forward to working together. So notice the gerund verb we need. You can also use a noun, looking forward to the conference, looking forward to the project. If you're meeting someone for the first time, you can say, bye, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure meeting you. It was nice talking to you. In a job interview, we generally express appreciation. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I look forward to hearing from you. The interviewer will also express appreciation. Thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll be in touch shortly. Notice that expression, in touch. We'll be in touch soon. We'll be in touch shortly. Superiors can add some words of encouragement by keep up the good work, the great work, the amazing work. Or they might say, if you need me, I'm a phone call away. By, if you need me, I'm a phone call away. You know where to find me, which is letting you know you can just text me. You know where to find me. I'll be on my phone. You know where to find me. Or a common one in the office is, by, my door's always open. And that's encouraging you to come back if you want to discuss anything or if you need help.
My door is always open.
Now, all of these expressions are designed to help you sound like a native English speaker. And if you're serious about becoming fluent fast, then I want to tell you about the Finally Fluent Academy. This is my premium training program where we study native English speakers on TV, YouTube, movies, and the news so you can add the most common natural expressions to your speech, and you'll have me as your personal coach. You can look in the description for a link to learn more about becoming a member today. Now let's move on and talk about all the natural ways that you can say I think in English. First of all, there's nothing wrong with saying I think. I say it all the time, but I have many other expressions in my vocabulary that I use as well, and my choice depends on the situation I'm in. So let me share all the different alternatives that you need. First, let's talk about everyday situations. Let's take the statement, it's going to rain. Instead of I think, you can say, I'd say it's going to rain. I'd say. This is a contraction of I would say, but native speakers use the contraction. I'd say it's going to rain. You can add to that and say, if you ask me, I'd say it's going to rain. They're exactly the same, it's just something nice we add on. I believe is going to rain. This is the closest alternative to I think, and it's very commonly used. It seems to me that, the way I see it, to me, is going to rain. All three are used to really show your personal opinion. My close friend always says, I reckon. I reckon is going to rain. I personally don't say I reckon, but I really love when she says it. I prepared a free lesson PDF that summarizes all the expressions from this lesson, so you can find that in the description and in the comment section. Now you can also say, it's going to rain, and then add, that's my take on it. This is a very common expression, my take on it. Take is your assessment, how you see the situation. That's my take on it. So you first share your opinion or statement and then say, that's my take on it. You can do the same thing with the idiom, that's my 2 cents. 2 cents, that represents opinion. Is going to rain, that's my 2 cents. Now let me share some more formal expressions that you would use in a job interview, a conference, a work meeting, or other formal situations. Let's say your opinion is we should revise the report. Revise means make changes to. We should revise the report. Of course, you can say, I think that we should revise the report. You could also say from my perspective. This is a very common one. It sounds quite advanced. From my perspective, we should revise the report. Of course, you can simply say, in my opinion. In my opinion, we should revise the report. And that does sound more formal than saying, I think. You could say, it's my view that we should revise the report. Or it appears to me that we should revise the report. Keep in mind the word that is optional. We generally use it in written English and we generally exclude it in spoken English, but that's not a rule. So you could say, it appears to me we should revise the report, or it appears to me that we should revise the report. Both of these are correct. Let's talk about some expressions that express certainty. Certainty, 100%. So let's take our statement, we should promote John, Lucky John. Now, if you're 100% certain, you could say, I'm sure, I'm certain, I'm positive we should promote John. You could say, it's obvious that we should promote John. You could replace obvious with indisputable, which means nobody could dispute it. It's indisputable that we should promote John. That sounds very firm. I like that one. Indisputable. It's undeniable. It's unquestionable. It's beyond a doubt we should promote John. John must be really awesome. Now let's say that you do want to express some uncertainty or some doubt. So it could happen, but maybe it won't happen. You could say, it's possible that she's going to get the promotion. Instead of possible, you could say it's probable or it's likely she's going to get the promotion. I figure or I gather that she's going to get the promotion. One I really like is I have a hunch. I have a hunch that she's going to get the promotion. When you have a hunch, it's more based on your intuition rather than external evidence. I have a hunch that she's going to get a promotion. I just have this really good feeling. You could say, correct me if I'm wrong, but she's going to get the promotion. But if you say, correct me if I'm wrong, you're admitting that you may be wrong. You could also say, if I'm not mistaken, she's going to get the promotion. Again, there's some doubt there because you could be mistaken. You could say, to the best of my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge, she's going to get the promotion. Let's talk about some expressions that sound more diplomatic. So diplomatic because you might be introducing an opinion that people don't agree with, or that is the opposite of what most people think. So maybe all your coworkers think that John should get the promotion, but you don't. So our statement is, John isn't a good fit. He isn't a good fit. To be honest, in all honesty, John isn't a good fit. Now remember, this is something that a lot of people don't agree with. So you might want to say it with some regret. To be honest, in all honesty, John isn't a good fit. I'm sorry to say it, but John isn't a good fit. If you want to be more neutral, you could say, one could argue that John isn't a good fit. Everyone else is saying he is, so you want to be more neutral and talk about how he isn't. One could argue that. My impression is that John isn't a good fit. I saved my favorite for last to be diplomatic, and that's, I get what you're saying, but John isn't a good fit. Now in this case, get means understand. So if you want to be more casual, informal, use get. I get what you're saying, but John isn't a good fit. If you want to be more formal, you can say, I understand what you're saying, but John isn't a good fit. So what's your favorite alternative to I think? Share that in the comments below and let's continue on. Now let's talk about how to greet someone naturally, and you'll learn alternatives to the very robotic, how are you? I'm fine, which doesn't make you sound very natural. So let's get started. First, let's talk about why you should add alternatives to your speech. How are you? I'm fine is absolutely a greeting in English, and native speakers use this greeting, but we use it more as a pleasantry in situations where it's more obligated to interact. For example, if you're waiting in line at the grocery store, or when you're being served at a restaurant, the waiter or waitress will say, how are you? And you reply, I'm fine. It's just an expected interaction, but you don't actually tell the person how you are. So we only really use it in these situations. When we're interacting with our friends, our family, our coworkers, and more social situations, native speakers do not say, how are you? I'm fine. The most common alternative is to say, how are you doing? How are you doing?
How are you doing?
So notice, I'm changing this into the present continuous. How are you doing? It's a very small change, but it will make you sound so much more fluent and natural. How are you doing? Now to answer, you can say I'm doing plus adjective, doing plus adjective, I'm plus adjective, or simply the adjective. Now let's talk about the most common adjectives you can use to answer, starting from the most positive to the most negative. I'm doing amazing. I'm awesome. Doing fantastic.
Are you kidding? I'm fantastic.
Incredible. Wonderful. Super. Or never better. You could also say I've never been better, but to shorten that, never better.
Fiona, I've never been better.
And after you answer, you can say, and you? What about you? How are you doing? I created a free lesson PDF that summarizes all the expressions from this lesson, so you can look in the description or comment section for the link to download the PDF. For more neutral adjectives that mean not amazing but not terrible, you could say, I'm doing pretty good. So far, so good. Doing okay. I'm all right. Not too bad. Not bad. Not shabby. I can't complain. I have no complaints. I'm hanging in there. And sometimes you're just having a bad day. So let's talk about some more negative adjectives. I've been better. Not the best. Not great. I'm not too good. Hopefully you only need to use the positive adjectives. Another very common way to say, how are you? And my personal favorite is, how's it going? How's it going? To reply, you would say, it's going plus adjective, going plus adjective, or simply adjective. And you can use the same adjectives we've already discussed. How's it going? It's going great, thanks. And you? How's it going? Another common alternative to how are you is, what have you been up to lately or recently? What have you been up to lately? Not too much. I've been busy at work. What about you? The most common way to answer this is to say, not too much. Not too much. But then you can add on what you did, so the past simple, or what you've been doing, so the present perfect continuous. Not too much. Last week I moved, so I've been busy decorating my new apartment. Some more casual alternatives to this expression are, what's new? What's new and exciting? What's happening? And a more slang expression is, what's shaking? So what's new and exciting with you? Well, I started a new job a few weeks ago, so I've been pretty busy settling in. And there's one very common slang expression that you can use as an alternative to this greeting, and that's, what's up? What's up? Or you can even shorten this and simply say, sup, sup. If you want to sound like a very cool, young native English speaker, you can say sup.
Sup.
Well, what's up? Sup, man? Sup.
Hey, sup, bruh?
Sup. But I don't say that. I say, what's up? So what's your favorite greeting and adjective from this list? Share that in the comments below. Now let's talk about how to say I don't know in both casual situations and professional situations in the workplace. First, let's talk about some everyday ways that you can say I don't know. You can use these in more casual situations and professional situations. So let's say your friend or coworker asks you a random question like, how far away is the sun? And you don't know the answer. How can you reply? The most popular answer would be, I have no idea. And this is really to stress the fact that you have no knowledge on the topic. Remember, the question is, how far away is the sun? I have no idea. Now, we can also shorten this and simply say, no idea.
I have no idea.
No idea.
Another common answer is, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Now, you can expand on this and you can say, I'm not too sure. Not too sure. I'm not too sure about that. That meaning the question. I'm not too sure about how far away the sun is.
Not sure about that. Not sure about what?
A fun one is simply to say, who knows? Who knows? Seriously, who knows? Do you know? Who knows? You could say, your guess is as good as mine. It's implying that you also don't know the answer. Your guess is as good as mine.
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
I created a free lesson PDF that summarizes all the different ways to say, I don't know. You can look in the description or the comment section for the link. Now, another one with the word guess is, if I had to guess, I'd say. So you're letting the person know that your answer could be completely wrong. So how far away is the sun? If I had to guess, I'd say 100 million miles? I don't know. Am I right? You let me know in the comments if I'm right. You could say, I wish I knew. That's an interesting piece of knowledge. I wish I knew, but I don't. I wish I knew. I wish I could help you. I wish I could help you with that. I wish I could answer that for you, but I can't.
I wish I knew, Robin. I wish I knew.
You could also say, I can't help you with that one. I can't help you with that question. You could say, that's an interesting question, but, and then use any of the expressions we just learned. That's an interesting question, but I have no idea. You could also just say, I've never thought about that before, which is probably true. A common way to answer that question now is simply to take out your phone and say, hey Siri, how far away is the sun? Hey, I was actually pretty close. It was 149 million miles away, and I said 100 million miles, and I completely guessed. I'm pretty proud of that. So that's a great way to answer. Just ask Siri or Alexa or whoever else. There are two very common idioms that you can use. The first idiom is beats me. That beats me. But we commonly get rid of that and simply say beats me. And that's the same as saying I have no idea. Beats me. The other idiom is I haven't the slightest idea. And the slightest is this much, the smallest amount possible, but you're saying you don't even have that. So it's another way of saying, I have no idea. I haven't the slightest idea. Now, instead of slightest, you could say foggiest or faintest, and it means the exact same thing. Or you can say, I haven't a clue, which also means the same thing. So they're just slight changes to the same idiom, and they're very commonly used.
Because I haven't the foggiest idea why. I mean, look at me.
Now let's talk about some more professional expressions that you can use when you're asked a question, but you don't know the answer. So let's say your boss asks you how many units of a specific product were sold last month. You could reply back and say, when do you need to know by? And your boss will likely say an hour, 2 hours, tomorrow, next week, and tell you when they need the information. Now, if they say right now, I need it right now, then you can reply back and say, let me get that for you. Get that being the answer, the information. Or you could say, let me find out. Let me look into this. Instead of let me, you could also say I will. As a contraction, I'll find out. I'll look into this. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you. Another way to reply is to say, I need to check something and then I'll get back to you. So you're letting the person know that you just need to do something first. Instead of check, you could say, I need to confirm something, I need to verify something, I need to look into something and get back to you. You can also specify a specific time or date when you'll have the information. Let me look into this and I'll get back to you by 2 o'clock, by the end of the day, by tomorrow, by next week. And let the person know.
Let me look into it.
Now, if you do want to admit that you don't know the answer now, you could say something like, I'm not sure offhand. So offhand is just an expression we use to mean right now. I'm not sure offhand. Let me look into this and I'll get back to you by 2 o'clock. Does that work for you? And you can add, does that work for you? To clarify that getting back to them with the information by 2 o'clock is acceptable. Your boss will likely say, sure, no problem. Or they might say, no, I have a meeting in 10 minutes and I need this information. Well, then of course you say, no problem, I'll find out right now and get back to you in a few minutes. Of course, by the deadline your boss just told you. Now, instead of saying, I'm not sure offhand, which again is just an expression, I'm not sure offhand, you could say, I'm not sure off the top of my head. So again, this is another way of just saying right now. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Let me find out and I'll email you the information in 10 minutes. So you could also use in and a time reference, in 10 minutes, in an hour, in 20 minutes. Or you could simply say ASAP. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Let me check and I'll get back to you ASAP. That means as soon as possible. You can also say ASAP. There's 2 different ways to say it, ASAP or ASAP. They're both acceptable. I think ASAP is more common though. I'll get back to you ASAP.
I'll look into it and get back to you.
ASAP.
Now you have all the expressions you need to say, I don't know. What was your favorite expression? Share that in the comments below. And finally, let's talk about all the different ways that you can say I'm sorry naturally to sound like a native English speaker. First, let's talk about some casual expressions that you can use in everyday situations. Let's take the example of bumping into someone at the grocery store and you want to apologize. So instead of saying I'm sorry, you can simply say sorry. I know it's a subtle difference, but it will really help you sound more natural to just say sorry, sorry. You could also add so or very in front of it. So sorry, very sorry. Or you could say sorry about that. That being the mistake, bumping into the person at the grocery store. Sorry about that, so sorry about that.
I'm so sorry about that.
To help you remember all of these expressions, I created a free lesson PDF. You can look in the description or the comment section for the link to download the free lesson PDF. Another common thing is simply to make a sound effect like oops, oops, whoops, oh no, oh my. And then you don't even have to say anything else because usually it's your facial expression. Oops, oh.
Oopsie.
Oopsie. Oopsie. Yikes.
Whoops.
A slightly more formal one, but that's still very casual, is to say, excuse me or pardon me. Excuse me, pardon me. Those are quite common as well. Let's say that your friend asks you to buy her a chocolate chip cookie, but you bought her an oatmeal cookie. So instead of saying, I'm sorry, you could say, my bad, my bad. This is extremely common in North America, and it will really make you sound like an American English speaker. My bad, my bad. Keep in mind it is quite casual and it's used for smaller things you want to apologize for, like getting the wrong cookie. My bad. You could also say my fault, or my mistake. My mistake, I got you the wrong cookie.
My bad.
Let's say you want to admit your mistake. For example, you told your friend the party started at 8 o'clock, but it actually started at 7. You could say, I was wrong. So instead of saying, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong time, you could say, I was wrong. Of course, you can use any of our other expressions, my bad, but one to specifically admit your mistake is simply to say, I was wrong. Often we say sorry if we can't do something that someone wants us to do. So let's say your friend invited you to a party, but you can't attend. It would be very common to say, I'm sorry, I can't attend your party. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, you can say, unfortunately. So replace I'm sorry with unfortunately. Unfortunately, I can't help you. Unfortunately, I can't attend your party. Unfortunately, I can't drive you to the airport. Now let's talk about some more professional expressions that you can use in the workplace or a more formal situation. Let's say you arrive to an important meeting 10 minutes late. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, you can say, my apologies. Now you can expand that and say, my apologies for being late. To make it stronger, you can add sincere. My sincere apologies for being late. To sound even more formal, you could say, please accept my apologies. Please accept my sincere apologies for being late. That sounds very formal. Let's say you made a mistake at work and you ordered 100 boxes, but you should have ordered 10 boxes. Now, in the casual example, we learned I was wrong to admit you made a mistake. In a professional context, I recommend I take full responsibility. This sounds very professional because the word responsibility sounds professional. I take full responsibility for ordering the wrong number of boxes. My sincere apologies.
And I take full responsibility.
You could also say, I understand I made a mistake. I'll fix it. Now, instead of understand, you could say, I know I made a mistake. I admit I made a mistake. I'll fix it. So notice you're not just admitting it, you're also offering a solution. I'll fix it. I'll call the supplier right now. I'll get this resolved. So offering a solution is a great addition to admitting a mistake. Let's say that you kept a client waiting on the phone for a long time. Now, instead of saying, I'm sorry for the wait, you can say, I appreciate your patience. So instead of talking about the negative, you talk about the positive, which is the fact that your client is patient. I appreciate your patience. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for holding. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate your patience.
Now let's say that your boss, your coworker, or your client offers you some constructive criticism. So they tell you about something that you're not doing very well. Maybe your last presentation wasn't very good, and they give you some constructive criticism, some feedback. Instead of saying, I'm sorry my presentation wasn't good, you can say, thank you for bringing this to my attention, or thank you for letting me know. And then you can add a solution. I'll work on that. I'll improve that. Or you can even ask them, how can I improve? Can you give me some suggestions to improve?
Thank you for bringing this to my attention.
There's one common idiom that you can use to admit you made a mistake. So remember, in the casual example, you can say, I was wrong. In the professional example, you can say, I take full responsibility. The idiom that you can use in any situation is, the buck stops with me. The buck stops with me. This simply means I was wrong or I take full responsibility.
the buck stops with me.
So now you have so many alternatives to help you sound very fluent and natural. My favorite is my bad, because I hear Americans use it all the time and I want you to sound more fluent by using it too. My bad. What's your favorite from this list? Amazing job with this lesson. Share your favorite new expressions in the comments below. And make sure you download this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can download it from my website right here. And now, get started with your next lesson.